Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture number 2 of the course on statistics and probability. In the last lecture, I conveyed to you the organization and structure of this course. In addition, I discussed with you the nature of the discipline of statistics, the importance of statistics in different fields, and also I picked up some technical concepts such as data, variables, measurement scales, and errors of measurement. Today, we will be discussing the various steps involved in a statistical inquiry, and in particular, we will be discussing the methods of data collection, both primary data and secondary data, and also we will discuss at some length the concept of sampling. Students, कोई भी research जो हम real life data पे based करना चाहते हैं, उसमें कौन-कौन से steps involved होते हैं? Actually, it's quite a scientific method, and you have to have a methodological approach toward this problem. So, अगर मैं इसको list करने की कोशिश करूं, तो हम यूं कह सकते हैं कि for any statistical inquiry, first of all, you would be very clear about the topic and the significance of the study. You should be absolutely clear about the objective of your study, exactly what it is that you are trying to find out, and then, of course, the methodology for data collection, the source of your data, and also the sampling methodology, as well the instrument for collecting your data, the tool by which you would collect your data is of the utmost importance. Then, of course, once you have collected the data, you would proceed to the analysis of this data. You will draw results and conclusions, and finally, recommendations based on your study. As far as the methodology for data collection is concerned, I just said to you कि 3 चीज़ें हैं जिनके बारे में आपको बिल्कुल क्लियर होना चाहिए. सबसे पहले सोर्स ऑफ योर डेटा, यानी वो स्टेटिस्टिकल पॉपुलेशन जहां से आप डेटा कलेक्ट करेंगे, एंड देन द सैम्पलिंग मेथोडोलॉजी, क्योंकि अक्सर व बेशतर आपके पास रिसोर्सेज इतने नहीं होते कि आप पूरी पॉपुलेशन से डेटा कलेक्ट कर सकें, एंड यू हैव टू रिजॉर्ट टू सैम्पलिंग. और उसके बाद ऑल्सो इक्वली इम्पॉर्टेंट, साथ ही साथ the instrument, the method by which you would collect your data. So, I will begin the discussion from the third point, and that is the instrument, and then I will go to the first 2 points, the population and the procedure for sampling. Students, किसी भी statistical inquiry में ये जो collection of data है, this is one of the most important steps. You see, the point is कि सारा जो आपका एनालिसिस है, जो बाद में आपने बड़ी-बड़ी sophisticated methods भी आप उसके ऊपर अप्लाई कर लें, अगर आपका डेटा ही सही नहीं है, तो how can you expect your results to be reliable and valid? So, इस ज़िम्न में, the first thing to understand is that we can differentiate between 2 types of data that we could collect, the primary data and the secondary data. Data that have been originally collected and have not undergone any sort of statistical treatment are called primary data. यानी दूसरे लफ्ज़ों में वो डेटा जो आप खुद कलेक्ट करेंगे, fresh data, that is primary data. On the other hand, data that have undergone some sort of statistical treatment by statistical methods at least once. That is, data that have been collected, classified, tabulated, and presented in some form for a certain purpose are called secondary data. As far as collection of primary data is concerned, students, there are a number of ways of doing that. We have direct personal investigation, indirect investigation, collection through questionnaires, collection through enumerators, and also there is a method in which we have data collected through local sources. सबसे पहले डायरेक्ट पर्सनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन की बात करते हैं. स्टूडेंट्स, ये वो मेथड है कि जिसमें रिसर्चर या इन्वेस्टिगेटर जो है वो डेटा को खुद पर्सनली कलेक्ट करता है, किसी और पे रिलाई नहीं करता, और चूंकि उसका अपना ज़ाती इंटरेस्ट उस रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम में इतना ज़्यादा होता है, इसलिए इस तरह से जो डेटा कलेक्ट किया जाता है that is generally quite accurate. But of course, as you can understand, this method, in which the interviewer is, the researcher is doing it himself, this method can prove quite costly and time consuming, especially when the area to be covered is vast. However, it is quite a useful method for lab experiments or for localized inquiries. लेकिन इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम और भी है कि although the researcher may be wanting and thinking that he is being very impartial and objective, sometimes it is possible कि उसका जो पर्सनल इंक्लिनेशन है, पर्सनल एक जो बेंट ऑफ माइंड है, पर्सनल वे ऑफ थिंकिंग जो है, जिसे हम लोग पर्सनल बायस कहेंगे, actually that might actually enter into the data, and so the data that way may not be extremely accurate. The next method that I would like to discuss is the method of indirect investigation. देखिए, बाज़ औक़ात ऐसा होता है कि आप इंफॉर्मेशन जिन लोगों के बारे में हासिल करना चाहते हैं, they are hesitant to provide that information to you. For example, आप सब जानते ही हैं कि लोग अपनी इनकम एकदम से आपके साथ शेयर नहीं करना चाहते, या ख़वातीन के बारे में आम बात है कि जी ख़वातीन अपनी उम्र आपको नहीं बताना चाहती. So this is just a small example to illustrate the point that sometimes actually it may not be possible for you to obtain the accurate information directly from the persons concerned. ऐसी situation में you would be interviewing some third party who has knowledge about that particular, about those people and about that phenomenon, and you will be collecting data from these third parties in an indirect way. इसे कहते हैं indirect data collection. लेकिन इसमें भी we have to be very careful, because sometimes it is possible that the third party may give you wrong information about this person deliberately. The next method is the questionnaire method. इसके अंदर हम एक सवालनामा तैयार करते हैं और उसको हम एडमिनिस्टर करते हैं अपने रिस्पोंडेंट्स के ऊपर, and they are required to answer all the questions and to fill out the performer. वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज़ में जहाँ पे, और उन सब कंट्रीज़ में जहाँ पे लेवल ऑफ लिटरेसी और एजुकेशन हमारे डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़ की निस्बत बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, सबसे ज़्यादा आम तरीका ये है कि बाय मेल, दे वुड सेंड द क्वेश्चनर बाय मेल. और अब तो आपको पता है कि ईमेल और इन सब चीज़ों का ज़माना है. लेकिन developing countries में, as you know, when there are so many people who are not able to read and write, generally you would have a trained enumerator who would go to this respondent and he would interview the person, और जो उनका जवाबात उनके जो होंगे, ये हमारा जो enumerator है वो फॉर्म को भरेगा according to the answers given by the respondent. So in this manner, the next method that I listed, the method of trained enumerators, वो link up हो जाता है questionnaire method के साथ, क्योंकि जब trained enumerator भी जाता है तो वो एक सवालनामा उसके पास होता है जिसे वो administer करता है on the respondent. इन सब methods के अलावा एक और method जिसका मैंने जिक्र किया, that is the method in which we have the data collected locally from local sources. इसका आसान example crop estimation का है. जब आपको crop के बारे में अंदाज़ा करना होता है तो आप जो local sources हैं, जो गाँव का नंबरदार है, जो वहाँ के local concerned लोग हैं, उनसे आप information मंगवा लेते हैं. ये तो हुई बात प्राइमरी डेटा की, वो डेटा जो आप खुद कलेक्ट करेंगे या करवाएंगे. The other kind of data is secondary data, and as I mentioned earlier, this is that data which has already been collected by some organization. इसके अंदर हमारे पास हम इसे कैटेगराइज कर देते हैं मुख्तलिफ कैटेगरीज में. We have official sources, semi-official sources, publications of trade associations and chambers of commerce and such organizations, and we also have research organizations. Official sources की category में governmental departments such as the Statistics Division, the provincial and federal bureaus of statistics, और semi-official में semi-government इदारे, for example, the Railway Board और the Central Cotton Committee, इस किस्म के इदारे उसके अंदर शामिल होते हैं. Students, ये तो हुई methods of data collection की बात. आइए अब हम उस बात पे जाते हैं जो मैंने पहले शुरू में कही थी, the source of our data, यानी डेटा कलेक्ट कहाँ से करेंगे. The population, the statistical population, and then also the method of sampling. इसके अंदर सबसे पहले देखने की चीज ये है कि why do we have to resort to sampling? जैसा कि मैंने पहले कहा, of course, if we could conduct a complete census, a complete count, that would be a perfect situation, an ideal situation. इसलिए कि आप अपनी तमाम तर पॉपुलेशन को एग्जॉस्ट कर रहे हैं और एक एक एलिमेंट ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन से डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट दिस परफेक्ट एंड आइडियल सिचुएशन is not available in real life. Very rarely is it possible to you to have access to the entire population. More often than not, the study has to be conducted on sample basis. यूँ समझ लीजिए कि ये जो सब्जेक्ट है स्टैटिस्टिक्स का, इसका गोल ही ये है. The goal of the science of statistics is to draw conclusions about large populations on the basis of data collected on sample basis. आइए अब हम ये जो लफ्ज़ population है इसको formally define करते हैं. As you can see on the screen, a population is the collection of every member of a group possessing the same basic and defined characteristic, but varying in amount or quality from one member to another. We have two types of population, the finite population and the infinite population. Let me explain this point with the help of some examples. For a finite population, you could think of the IQs of all the children in a school, the heights of those children, their weights, their blood pressures, their body temperatures. कहने का मकसद ये है कि चूंकि उस स्कूल के अंदर उन बच्चों की तादाद एक फाइनाइट तादाद है, लिहाजा आप उनसे रिलेटेड किसी भी वेरिएबल पे अगर डेटा कलेक्ट करेंगे तो दैट विल कॉन्स्टिट्यूट अ फाइनाइट पॉपुलेशन. The other, of course, is the infinite population. For example, the barometric pressure. There are an infinitely large number of points on the surface of the earth, and hence we can have an infinite number of readings of barometric pressure. इस ज़िमन में समझने की बात यह है कि बहुत सी populations इतनी ज़्यादा large होती हैं कि even if they are, अगर हम बहुत ही ज़्यादा rigorously define करें तो हम कह सकें कि it's a finite population, लेकिन चूंकि वो इस कदर large है, इसलिए for all practical purposes it is equivalent to an infinite population. Students, ये जो दोनों examples मैंने अभी आपके सामने पेश की, they were of what can be called existent populations, यानी वो चीज़ें जो actually exist कर रही हैं. But then we could also talk about the hypothetical population, the population of all conceivable ways in which a certain event can happen. For example, all possible outcomes from the throw of a die. However long we throw the die and record the results, we could always continue to do so for a still longer period. Students, there is one other differentiation that we need to make, and that is between the sampled population and the target population. Sampled population is that from which the sample is chosen, whereas target population is that about which the information is sought. For example, suppose that we desire to know the opinions of the college students in the Punjab regarding the present examination system. Our population will in that case consist of the total number of students in all the colleges of the Punjab. But if suppose that on account of shortage of resources or time, we are unable to conduct a survey of this kind on all the colleges, and we select only 5 colleges scattered throughout the province, then our target population consists of all the colleges, whereas the sampled population consists of those 5 colleges that we have chosen. Students, population के बारे में तो हमने खासी बात कर ली. The next question is, how do we draw a sample from our population? इस ज़िमन में the very first thing to note is that we have 2 methods of sampling basically, the non-random sampling and random sampling. Statistics की जो तमाम तर जो theory है, statistical inference की जो theory है, that is based on the assumption that our sample is a random sample. In order to draw a random sample from a population, students, the first thing we need is the complete list of our population, which is technically called the frame. For example, the complete list of all the BCS students of the Virtual University of Pakistan as on 15th of February 2003. Students, as far as the sampling frame is concerned, it should be kept in mind that as far as possible, our frame should be free from various types of defects that can occur. It should not contain inaccurate elements. It should not be incomplete. It should be free from duplication, and it should not be out of date. ये जो मैंने अभी आपको एग्जाम्पल दी कि 15 फरवरी 2003 को वर्चुअल यूनिवर्सिटी के तमाम तर स्टूडेंट्स की जो लिस्ट है, तो अभी जो मैंने जिन डिफेक्ट्स का जिक्र किया उस हवाले से यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट इफ द लिस्ट कंटेन्स some student who had previously enrolled but has now left, or if the list contains the name of the same student twice, then these are the kinds of errors that we must try to avoid. And as far as possible, the frame should be complete, accurate and up to date. आइए अब एक्चुअल सैम्पलिंग की बात करते हैं. इस फ्रेम में से हमें अब एक सैंपल ड्रॉ करना है. इस सिलसिले में the first thing to keep in mind is that a sample is only a part of this population, and therefore it can only represent the population to a certain extent. It cannot represent it fully, and the goal of sampling is that the sample should be drawn in such a way that it is a good representative of the population, in spite of the fact that it is usually much smaller than the population. Students, sampling has so many advantages from the practical point of view. You are able to save a lot of time and money simply because the bulk of work is so much smaller than a complete census. You are able to collect more detailed information about a number of variables. You have the possibility of follow-up. Follow-up किसको कहते हैं? Students, जब आप डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं तो ये तो कतई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि तमाम तर इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको जो हासिल हो वो बिल्कुल एक्यूरेट हो. एन मुमकिन है कि वो सवालनामा जो आपके रिस्पोंडेंट ने आपको भर के वापस भेजा, उसमें 10 में से 9 क्वेश्चंस को तो उसने आंसर किया हो, लेकिन 10वें क्वेश्चन को उसने आंसर ना किया हो. And also, you might have the answers, but it might be very clear to you that there are some errors in them. ऐसी सिचुएशन में you would be following up your query. आप अपने रिस्पोंडेंट को दोबारा कांटेक्ट करते हैं and you try to have him rectify the errors. Obviously, अगर एक complete census है तो फॉलो अप की पॉसिबिलिटी बहुत कम है, बिकॉज इट्स such a huge study and you cannot afford to follow up on your respondents. But if it is only a sample, many times it is possible for you to do so. Students, let me now discuss with you 2 technical concepts: the concept of sampling error and the concept of non-sampling error. Sampling error is defined as the difference between the true value of the population, such as the true population mean, and the similar value computed from the sample, for example, the sample mean. Yani, as you can now see on the screen, in case of the mean, sampling error will be defined as x bar minus mu, where mu represents the true population mean and x bar represents the sample mean. इस difference को sampling error इसीलिए कहते हैं कि this arises due to sampling. Because a sample is only a part of the population, hence the value that you compute from the sample cannot be the same as that you would have from the entire population, and this error would be there even if your sample has been drawn in a very correct manner. Besides sampling error, there is this other kind of error called non-sampling error. ये इसलिए कि ये वो errors हैं जो आपके इस process में involve होते हैं, not because of sampling, but which would be there even if you are conducting a complete census. The defect in the sampling frame, faulty reporting of facts due to personal preferences, negligence or indifference of the enumerator, and non-response to male questionnaires are examples of non-sampling error. Students, सैम्पलिंग और सैम्पल पे बेस्ड स्टडी के ज़िमन में एक और पॉइंट भी नोट करने वाला है, और वो ये है कि हाउ लॉन्ग शुड द प्रोसेस ऑफ डेटा कलेक्शन बी कंटिन्यूड. ऑब्वियसली कोई ऐसी स्टडी नहीं हो सकती कि जिसमें आप ये डेटा कलेक्शन का प्रोसेस जो है इसको आप एक इनडेफिनेट पीरियड तक प्रोलॉन्ग कर सकें. In fact, the longer your data collection takes, the more possibility there is of having variations in response because of the time lag. And hence, the procedure is that a definite cutoff date is generally established for any data-based study. Students, मैंने कुछ देर पहले आपसे कहा कि we can have non-random sampling or random sampling. Of course, my stress in a short while will be very much on random sampling. लेकिन इससे पेशतर मैं थोड़ा सा आपके साथ ये डिस्कस करना चाहूँगी कि non-random sampling से क्या मुराद है. Non-random sampling is that in which we would select the elements using our personal judgment. इसके अंदर we have different types, and one of the most popular types is called quota sampling. Quota sampling is often used in commercial surveys such as consumer market research. For example, suppose that one particular company wants to know the opinion of the people about this new product that they have launched in the market. They may tell their enumerator, this one enumerator, that he should interview 10 married women between 30 and 40 years of age living in this particular area whose husbands are professional workers, and 5 unmarried professional women of the same age living in the same town, same area. यानी दूसरे लफ्ज़ों में ये जो enumerator है, he is restricted by quota controls. उसको एक तादाद तो दे दी गई है कि इतने मर्द, इतनी ख़वातीन, लेकिन उसके बाद ये कि कौन से मर्द, कौन सी ख़वातीन, that is totally up to his own discretion. इसलिए students, you can see that in this kind of sampling, there is no need for the list of the entire population out of which you would have drawn a sample using the lottery method. As such, it is obvious that this is a very, very convenient form of sampling. There is a lot of cost reduction and also a lot of saving in terms of time. But this is not the one that we have to go for. इसलिए कि जितना भी वो समझे कि जो मैं सिलेक्शन कर रहा हूँ that is random, it is actually not really random. Students, you will be interested to know that psychological studies have been conducted which have established that the human mind is a poor random selector. कहने का मकसद ये है कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल सपोज कि मैं आपसे कहूँ कि 1 से 20 तक आप रैंडमली नंबर बोलते जाइए. सो यू माइट से 1, 3, 2, 7, 12, 19 एंड यू थिंक दैट दिस इज टोटली रैंडम. लेकिन अब जब इसी डेटे को आप एनालाइज करेंगे तो आप देखेंगे कि आपने बहुत ज़्यादा नंबर जो बोले, they were odd numbers and there were very few even numbers. Same is the situation in case of non-random sampling. The enumerator may be thinking that he has been able to interview all kinds of men and all kinds of women in this interview regarding this particular product, but it is possible that those people are not really a very, very good representative of the population. Of course, there will be situations when it will be better to resort to non-random sampling. For example, suppose that the rector of your university wants to send one of the students of this university to some foreign country for this particular conference. Obviously, in this case, he should use his best discretion to select a student who will be able to represent the university in a proper way. And obviously, this student will be one of the most intelligent and good students. Lekin statistical point of view say, this student will not be a proper representative of the entire population of this university. इसलिए कि जो 2000-2500 की total population है, उसमें तो तमाम किस्मों के students मौजूद हैं. Some who are very intelligent, some who are not that intelligent. So this is the key concept as far as sampling from the statistical point of view is concerned. A sample, students, is supposed to be a miniature replica of the population. All right, let us now focus our attention on random sampling. Students, random sampling is the one in which you select your sample by the lottery method. This is the simplest way of saying it. कि जिस तरह lottery method में आप selection करते हैं, अगर आप उस तरह से sampling करें, तो that can be called random sampling. In this category, we have a number of types of sampling, such as the simple random sampling, the stratified random sampling, systematic sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, and so on and so forth. इस कोर्स में इन तमाम तरीकों के बारे में डिस्कशन करने की तो गुंजाइश नहीं है. I will be focusing on the simplest kind of random sampling, and that is simple random sampling. Simple random sampling is the one in which the chance of any one element of the parent population to be included in the sample is the same as for any other element. आइए अब देखते हैं कि ये जो सैंपल है ये हम किस तरह से एक्चुअली ड्रॉ करेंगे. आपको मालूम ही है कि जो ट्रेडिशनल मेथड है लॉटरी का, वो तो ये है कि आप लोगों के नाम पर्चियों के ऊपर लिखकर पर्चियों को फोल्ड करके एक हैट में डाल दें और उसको बहुत अच्छी तरह से हिलाकर और शफल करके यू वुड पुल आउट वन ऑफ दोज जेट्स ऑफ पेपर. अब तो एज यू नो वेरी वेल, बेटर देन मी, कंप्यूटर का जमाना है and computers are able to conduct the lottery method for you very conveniently by generating random numbers. मैं आपके साथ इन दोनों के दरमियान का जो phase है उसको डिस्कस करूंगी, and that is the use of the random number table. A random number table, students, is a page full of the digits from 0 to 9 which are printed on that page in a totally random manner. Actually, these tables are constructed according to certain mathematical principles such that the chance of any one digit to appear on that page is equal to the chance of any other digit to appear. So, as you can now see on the screen, ये digits इस तरह से हैं कि इनमें किसी किस्म का कोई सिस्टमैटिक पैटर्न या ऑर्डर नहीं पाया जाता. In order to draw a sample from this kind of a table, I will explain this point with the help of an example. Suppose that we have the frequency distribution of the ages of a population of 1,000 college students in any particular country. The ages are, as you can see, from 13 to 19, and the number of students in the various age groups are 6, 61, 270 and so on. अब ये जो 1000 size की जो population है, suppose that we have to draw a sample of size 10 from this population. How do we proceed? The first step is to allot a sampling number to each item in the population. And to do that, the very first step should be to construct a column of cumulative frequencies. So, as you now see on the screen, the cumulative frequencies for this example are 6, 67, 337 and so on. Now that we have all these cumulative frequencies, now we are in a position to allocate the sampling numbers to all these population units. As the cumulative frequency of the first class is 6 students, what we can do and should do in this case is to allocate sampling numbers 000 to 005 to those 6 students who belong to this very first class. Now, the cumulative frequency of the second class is 67, whereas the cumulative frequency of the first class was 6. This means that we can allocate sampling numbers 006 to 066 to the 61 students who belong to the second class. Similarly, the cumulative frequency of the third class is 337. The cumulative frequency of the second class was 67, and we can therefore allocate to the third class sampling numbers 067 to 336. Proceeding in this manner, you obtain the sampling numbers from 000 to 999, as you now see on the screen. The interpretation of this column of sampling numbers is that the first student whose age is 13, he or she has been allotted the sampling number 000. The sixth student has been allotted the number 005. The seventh student, whose age is 14, has been allocated the sampling number 006 and so on, such that the last student, the 1000th student, whose age is 19 years, has been allocated the sampling number 999. Students, I'm sure कि आपके जहन में इस वक्त एक सवाल आ रहा होगा, और वो ये कि why have we shifted the number backward by 1? यानी जो पहला स्टूडेंट है उसको आपने 000 क्यों दिया है, 001 क्यों नहीं दिया है? The reason is that in all we have 1000 students. अगर हम एग्जैक्ट वही नंबरिंग करना चाहें जो कि उसका एक्चुअल नंबर है, तो फिर आपको 3 डिजिट की बजाय 4 डिजिट सैम्पलिंग नंबर्स इस्तेमाल करने पड़ेंगे. The first student would have been allocated the number 0001, and the 1000th student would have been allocated the number 1000. अब आपको तमाम तर जो प्रोसेस इसके आगे है वो 4 डिजिट नंबरों के साथ करना पड़ेगा. And if I can avoid one number by one of those 4 digits simply by shifting the sampling numbers backward by 1, why shouldn't I do that? Now the next step is to actually select the sample. Sampling number तो हमने allocate कर दिए. Now I have to use the random number table, the one that you just saw, in order to select a sample from this population. शायद आपको बहुत ये बात अजीब सी लगे, लेकिन प्रोसेस इसका ये है कि आप you would simply close your eyes and put your finger somewhere on that page, और जहाँ पे भी वो लैंड करे वहाँ से आप वो नंबर पढ़ेंगे. A 3-digit number exactly where your finger has landed. Suppose that your finger lands on the number 041. This means that the first student who is selected in your sample is the 42nd student. Remember, 42nd student को आपने सैम्पलिंग नंबर दिया था 041. आपका सैंपल का साइज 10 है और आपका पहला एलिमेंट सिलेक्ट हो गया. What do you do after that? दोबारा से आपको फिंगर रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. चूंकि वो तमाम तर टेबल टोटली रैंडम डिजिट्स पे मुश्तमिल है, नाउ यू कैन सिंपली गो डाउन और आप उससे अगला नंबर और उसके बाद उससे अगला नंबर और उसके बाद उससे अगला नंबर पढ़ते चले जाइए, एंड इन दिस वे यू गेट योर सैंपल. सो as you now see on the screen, suppose that in this example the numbers that you obtain are 041, 103, 374 and so on, and accordingly the ages of the students that have been selected are 14, 15, 16 and so on. इस एग्जाम्पल में हम स्टूडेंट्स की एजेस के साथ डील कर रहे हैं. And suppose that our first objective is to find the mean age of these students. अब जो हमने सैंपल सिलेक्ट किया, उन एजेस की हम मीन अगर निकालें तो that will be denoted by x bar. और अगर हम उस पूरी पॉपुलेशन की मीन एज कंप्यूट करें तो that is denoted by mu. The population mean age comes out to be 15.785 years, whereas the sample mean age comes out to be 15.6 years. Students, ये values मैंने किस तरह से compute की हैं, इसकी डिटेल तो हम चंद लेक्चर्स के बाद करेंगे. इस वक्त आप सिर्फ ये देखिए कि इस एग्जाम्पल में हमारा जो सैम्पलिंग एरर है, यानी जो डिफरेंस है बिटवीन द सैम्पल मीन एंड द पॉपुलेशन मीन, that comes out to be minus 0.185. Yani, it is quite small. And this sampling error came out to be so small because of the fact that it was a proper random sample. जब भी आप random sampling करेंगे, the probability will be high that your sample is a miniature replica of the population. Students, as stated earlier, there are various other types of random sampling, such as stratified sampling, systematic sampling, cluster sampling, and so on. As I mentioned, we will not have the opportunity to discuss all these different designs in detail in this particular course, but I would like to present to you a brief description of the concept of stratified sampling. The first and foremost point to be noted in this regard is that the procedure of simple random sampling, the one that I just described, is appropriate in that situation when the units contained in our population are similar to each other with respect to the object of our study. In other words, simple random sampling is appropriate when our population is homogeneous. In contrast, there are numerous situations where the units of the population under study are not all similar to each other. In other words, the population is not homogeneous but may be regarded as a heterogeneous population. Stratified random sampling is a type of probability sampling which is suitable in this kind of a situation. And in this situation, the population is divided into relatively homogeneous groups, technically called strata. Students, let me explain this point with the help of an example. Suppose that a study is to be conducted regarding the advertising expenditures of the 352 largest companies in a particular country. Suppose that the objective of the study is to determine whether firms with high returns on equity, that is, high profitability, spend more on advertising than firms with a low return or a deficit. Now, since there is a considerable amount of variation between the 352 firms with respect to profitability, therefore, in this situation, we cannot say that the population is homogeneous, and we would rather divide the firms into various groups in accordance with their profitability level, the grouping being done in such a way that the companies that fall within a group are relatively homogeneous. Suppose that it was decided that the 352 firms should be divided into 5 strata as shown in the table that you now see on the screen. Stratum 1 consisting of those companies whose return on equity is 30% or higher. Stratum 2, the companies having return between 20% and 30%. Stratum 3, companies having return between 10% and 20%. Stratum 4, companies having return between 0% and 10%. And stratum 5, companies who have to suffer a deficit. As you can see on the slide, out of the 352 firms, 8 fell in the first group, 35 in the second, 189 in the third, 115 in the fourth, and only 5 in the fifth and last stratum. The concept of stratified sampling is that once the population has been divided into various strata, a simple random sample should be drawn from each stratum. In this regard, the first question that arises is how large a sample should be drawn from the ith stratum? The answer to this question is that stratified sampling can be done either by the method of proportional allocation or by the method of non-proportional allocation. Now, the allocation is said to be proportional when the total sample size small n is distributed among the different strata in proportion to the number of units in those strata. In other words, the allocation is said to be proportional if small ni is equal to capital Ni multiplied by small n over capital N. And students, in this formula, small ni is the ith stratum sample size, capital Ni is the population size of the ith stratum, small n is the overall size of the sample, and capital N is the total size of the population. In this particular example, capital N1 is 8, capital N2 is 35, and so on. And of course, capital N, the overall population size, is 352. Therefore, applying the formula that I just presented, small ni is equal to 0.142 times capital Ni. Applying this formula on each one of the 5 strata that we have in this example, we obtain small n1 is equal to 0.142 times 8, and that is approximately equal to 1. Similarly, small n2 comes out to be equal to 5, small n3 is 27, small n4 is 16, and small n5 is equal to 1. This leads to the table that you now have on the screen, and as you can see, this table shows that if a total of 50 firms are to be selected for intensive study, then one firm with a level of profitability of 30% or more will be included in our sample. 5 firms in the 20 to 30% stratum would be selected in our sample at random, and so on. So, students, this is the procedure of stratified sampling by proportional allocation. यानी जो proportion overall sample size का overall population size के साथ बनता है, वही proportion हर stratum के अंदर maintain होता है. Students, regardless of whether the stratified sampling has been done by proportional allocation or non-proportional allocation, the important question is, what is the advantage of this particular type of sampling? The answer to this question is that stratified sampling ensures that every group present within the heterogeneous population is represented in the sample. In the example that we just discussed, it is worth noting that only 2% of the firms fell in stratum 1 and only 1% in stratum 5. अगर हम simple random sampling करते, पूरी population में से एक ही मर्तबा simple random sample draw कर लेते, तो ऐन मुमकिन था कि इन 2 strata में से कोई भी company हमारे sample में शामिल ना होती. But a stratified random sample ensures that at least one firm from stratum 1 and one from stratum 5 are represented in the sample. In other words, in such a situation, stratified sampling has the advantage of being able to reflect the characteristics of the population more accurately than simple random sampling. So, this was a brief introduction to the concept of stratified sampling. But students, in this particular course, all the techniques of inferential statistics that we will be discussing in the forthcoming lectures, they will be with reference to simple random sampling, the one that is applicable in the case of a homogeneous population. Students, this brings us to the end of today's lecture, and I would like to encourage you very much to study in some detail the concept of sampling. Best of luck and Allah Hafiz.